Hey, my name is Ryan and welcome to becomingbest.com, a series where I am documenting my journey towards becoming one of the best Super Smash Bros. Players in the world. Now, if you've never heard of Super Smash Bros. Melee, you can definitely be forgiven. It was released on Nintendo GameCube in 2001 in the US and 2002 here in Australia and Europe and in Japan. And it went on to become a very popular and still growing esport. So this is one of maybe the top 5 or top 6 esports in the world in terms of viewership. In terms of money, not so much. But this is a very technical game. It's a very difficult game. The skill gap between those who are at the top and those who aren't at the top, like myself, is quite high. And I just really enjoy this game. I used to play the one on Nintendo 64 when I was a kid in high school. And I picked this game up about 2 years ago and got into the tournament scene here in Queensland, Australia. But about 4 months ago or so, at the end of April in 2017, I really decided that, hey, I'm going to get a bit serious about this game. I'm going to start really practicing and really picking up my practice and trying to grow my skill level. So you can see that in April, I only did about an hour and a half of practice, but that was at the end of April that I really started tracking. And then in May, I did 35 hours of practice, 37 hours in June 2017, 50 hours in July, 60 hours in August, and then another 36 hours in September 2017. As I'm recording this intro, it is now October 2017, and I've got a goal of 70 hours a month. Eventually, my goal is to get up to practicing 1,000 hours a year. Now, why am I doing all this practice? I have my sights set on the Miom Top 100 ranking. So if we type in Miom Top 100 into Google, that will bring up this SSBM rank. This is the ranking of the top 100 players in the world. So this is released on an annual basis. And so you can see here that Armada currently number 1, Hungrybox number 2, Mango number 3. These are the top players in the world. And so every year the community gets together and some key figures in the community decide on this list of 100 top players based on tournament results, as well as some other things as well. So basically my goal is to get into this list of the top 100 players in the world. Now, this is not an easy list to get on by any stretch of the imagination, and the quality of the players on this list is extremely high. In fact, at the moment, I am ranked 79th in Australia, and in Queensland, my state, I'm ranked about 18th, I think it is. And so if we look at the nation, the top 2, maybe 3 players in the nation, Sora and Spud, those 2 players are probably 1 and then number 2. Those 2 would have potential to be on this top 100 list in the world. But basically, anyone else in Australia would probably struggle to get on that list. So this means that in order to get on this list of the top 100 in the world, I actually need to become one of the best, if not the best players in Australia. So this is no simple task. It's no easy task. We can see at the moment that I'm roughly around the 79th in Australia mark, though this ELO score of 1597 does fluctuate and isn't completely accurate, but it's kind of an idea of where I'm at. If we go back and look at my history, we can see that my ELO score has been down and has been growing since I started tracking it in April 2017. But if we go back to even earlier story of when I began playing this game, began playing Super Smash Bros. Melee, was about 2 years ago. And I had a decent growth as a player, as you can see on this ELO graph here. So I started off as a player with my first tournament around September 2015. So a little over exactly 2 years ago to the day that I'm recording this episode. So we started off here at around 1,000 ELO and hovered around there. And then we grew as a player, getting up to about 1909 ELO with this win to Jaybirds, who was a top player in the region at the time. I then decided to switch my main character. I used to play as Princess Peach, and I switched to a player called Jigglypuff. And you can see a sharp decline in my ELO all the way down, going down to even lower than the lowest I had when I started playing this game in 2015. So I really bottomed out as I changed characters and became a much worse player. And then I have been slowly but surely working my way up, trying to get better and better at this game. And that brings us to April 2017, where I decided to take a serious focus to my practice and to start actually tracking both the time I spend practicing as well as my ELO scores and my rankings and things like that. And so what we can see here is a graph over time of my ELO as well as some little goals that I've set for myself. So we can see originally my goal was top 100 in Australia. When I started tracking back on the 27th of April, I was 197th in the country. And my first goal was top 100 in Australia, which I surpassed on, I think it was the 20th of July. And then again on the 17th of August, of which I haven't dropped below it since. I then set my goal on top 20 in Queensland, which I have just achieved. And my next goal is top 50 in Australia, which I'm about 300 ELO off. So basically, I am tracking my progress, I'm tracking my practice with the goal of eventually reaching and becoming one of the top players in Australia and one of the top 100 players in the world. How do I think I'm going to achieve that? My goal to achieve that is to just really put in the hours. I don't have huge experience in the past being really great at gaming or really great at sports or anything like that. My history has been since I finished school, I went into pharmaceutical sales and then started my own online business, running my own websites, which does pretty well for myself. So that is currently, the experience that I've had for the last 4 or 5 years is just running my own online business. So in terms of gaming and reaction speeds and things like that, I really don't have that experience. And so I haven't built up years and years of being a great gamer. So I'm not going into this with any real skill behind me or any natural talent. But I really believe that if you put in the hard work and do the right type of practice, which Anders Ericsson in his book Peak determines as deliberate practice or purposeful practice, if you put in that type of practice, then that correlates with you becoming really proficient in a skill. So I believe that if I put in enough time of the right type of practice, then I can become one of the best players in the world, despite the fact that I don't really have the natural talent for this game or for gaming in general. And really, I just love to win. I love the competitive aspect of this game. I love the friends that I've made through this. And I love the fact that it's giving me something really difficult to learn, as well as opportunities to travel. I've been to Melbourne, I've been to Sydney competing. I'm going to go to the US next year to compete as well. I've been to Adelaide as well. So I've traveled a bit competing for this, made a lot of friends, and just really love that competitive aspect. Really love pushing myself, trying to get better, and ultimately trying to become one of the best. So becomingbest.com is a series that I am creating to really document my journey of how it's going. So I have a website where I track all my training hours and logs and things like that, as well as my rankings. That's over at melee.co, so melee.co. Becoming Best is more about the internal sort of stuff that I'm going through. So that'll be, I'll talk about tournaments that I attend and the results and how I felt about it. I'll do a weekly update with the tracking and talk about how I think I'm going and how my skills improving. So it's kind of like an online journal specifically for me trying to become the best in the world at this particular game. I'll also create videos when I have insights or when I'm going through things that I think relate to this. So basically the goal is that I'll spend the next 4 or 5 years trying to become one of the best in the world at Super Smash Bros. Melee. I've set my sights high, top 100 in the world, and Becoming Best will document that. And so the goal is that at the end of this, if I do achieve my goal or even if I don't, there is a log that myself or other people can go back to and to say, okay, what did Ryan do to become one of the best in the world? What did it take? And can I replicate that for myself in whatever it is that I'm going after? So yeah, I started I started really low, just like I guess anyone picking up anything would. I started 197th in the country. I would go to tournaments and they do double elimination at tournaments. And I would go 0-2, which means I would win 0 games and I would lose twice. They then run an amateur bracket, which is a bracket specifically for the people who got knocked out of tournament really early. So for the people who absolutely suck at the game, they pull them all together so at least they can compete against other people who suck. Well, I would go 0-2 in the amateur bracket as well. So basically, I couldn't even beat the worst players in my scene and in my local area. So I'm going from being one of the worst in my region, if not the worst, probably not the worst, but definitely one of the worst in my region. That was probably in December 2016. When I changed characters, I became one of the worst in my region again. And so going from there to trying to become the best in my region, the best in the country, and one of the best in the world. So I hope that you will follow in this journey with me. I hope that it will be enlightening to some people, or if not, I just hope that it's going to be a bit of fun. Hopefully you will skip forward and you'll be watching this in 4 or 5 years' time and you'll see that I achieved my goal. But right now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So this is an exciting journey that I'm on. I'm excited to have you as a part of it. I hope you wish me the best. I hope you follow along and I hope you get behind me to help me achieve those goals. And yeah, that is basically what this is all about. So I'm really excited to be doing this. You can check out all my episodes over at becomingbest.com. There are quite a few over there. I have made quite a few already. And also the things that really helped me, I'm going to be sharing at becomingbest.com/resources. So any books or articles or podcasts or things that really impacted me that have helped me on my journey to become the best, I'll be sharing them over there. So to find those, go to becomingbest.com/resources. So that completes this episode. Really excited to begin this journey and document this journey with you guys to find out what does it take to become one of the best in the world. So that's it from me today. Until next time, go out there and do what it takes to become the best.